Now let's get started on some of the good stuff. We got a decent shape going, but now it's time to add some real details. Now I wanted a really nice skin on this character, and one of the ways to do this is a lot of line work that's underneath the skin texture that you use. And you can use the line work to actually show the contour and the flow of the muscles. So we're going to work on this. Now right now you can see I'm just using the standard brush to inflate small areas in between the creases. And you can use Dam Standard to create the creases as well. Or you can hold the Alt key down on the standard brush and it will cut in lines as well. So I'm giving it a lot of attention. And you can see that the sizes of my brushes are getting smaller and smaller as we go for more and more detail. Now I've got the Dam Standard brush and I'm cutting in these lines. And for a majority of this, we're going to be at subdivision level 6 and 7. The lowest I'll drop down most likely is subdivision level 5. Back to our standard brush. So if you keep in mind the idea of layering details, having a series of wrinkles and ridges that show contour and then laying finer detail over that, even though they won't necessarily see all of it, subconsciously the viewer will perceive it. And it'll actually help define the form and add a layer of complexity to your sculpts. And you'll see me zoom out constantly because I want to know what the big picture looks like as well. Back to the Dam Standard, cutting in very tiny lines. And it takes a bit of time to do this. Now I do a lot of it by hand, but eventually here I'll switch to an alpha to speed things along. And I'll be including the alphas that I use, at least the ones that I can legally give away as a file that you'll be able to download. So I'm showing the flow and the stretch of the skin. And you'll notice even when I smooth, my brush is incredibly tiny. And if you see me do a larger brush smoothing, it's at a very low intensity. So yeah, we're going from subdiv level 6 to 7. Now I'm smoothing out some of this old detail I had that's not following the flow of the wrinkles. I'm doing it with a very tiny brush and a low intensity. So I didn't even get rid of them entirely, but I wanted to push it back so it wasn't distracting. So I've got the standard brush, just building up some of these forms and filling in any weird craters and holes that somehow happen to occur, and then smoothing it back. So back to the damn standard, cutting in lines. And this is the part I think that everybody's always in a rush to get to. But of course, you have to do all the preliminary steps that we've done before to really get this step to pay off. All right, that's a good start for this area of the armpit. Now let's move on to other areas of the torso. So I've got the dam standard brush and I've got X symmetry on. And it's at a fairly decent intensity, but it's a very tiny size. And you'll see me drop down the intensity just a hair. And these series of lines, ridges for lack of a better term, you're going to see me create a fairly intricate pattern of them, knowing full well that they're going to blend in with the skin pores really nicely. And you want to do it at a proper scale, meaning the distance between the lines should be appropriate for the size of the area that you're working on. You know, if I was doing this on, say, a little tiny finger, the lines would be much closer together, but in a bigger stretched out area like the stomach, they'll actually increase in size slightly. Now, I'm not going to lie, doing this technique entirely without alphas takes a bit of time. It looks gorgeous, but it does take time out of your day. So if you're working on a rush job, you're going to want to switch to the alpha technique I show you in a little bit. But I learned a long time ago that blending details like this has an amazing impact on the viewer. I'm just going in and cleaning up these edges, making some final decisions on the distance and the size of them. To me, this is a focal point. I know it's going to be looked at quite a bit. The face is, of course, always your main focal point, but there are other areas of interest that the eye is drawn to. So you can see me taking a smooth brush, very low intensity. And at subdivision level 7, which is quite a few polygons, the smooth brush is more like a polishing tool. It has a much more severe effect on lower subdivision levels than it does on the highest one. So now that I have the look I want for that area, I'm going to start putting this patterning all over the torso. And the damn standard brush is very good for this. And you can see that I'm finding a flow that matches the contour of the object I'm working on. And I'll smooth it back occasionally just to get it to match what I need. And I'm also doing it to erase some of that detail that I had previously put on the torso. So now we're starting to see a flow to the skin that enhances the direction and contour of the body part we're working on. I'm going in with the damn standard and cutting in some deeper lines. Now I'm using the standard brush to bring forward some of the center areas. And then of course, smoothing it back at a very low intensity. Now, even when I do this with the alpha method that I show you later, I still go in and tweak areas to make it look different so we don't have that identical stamp look that you get when you use an alpha all over the place. So on the next video, we're going to continue the torso and bring it to a finish.